This video is brought to you by Mobi City, your mobile destination. Here we have the HTC One. This is HTC's latest flagship phone for this year with the Galaxy S4 as its main target. Now it's been more than 2 weeks since I got this phone, and yes, it took me quite some time to make this review as I really wanted to cover as much points about this device. So without further ado, this is my review of the HTC One. Since last year, we've already heard a lot of rumors about the HTC One, and if you count all of the months, then you can tell how much time and effort did HTC put onto this phone. As you can tell by now, this phone has got an all aluminum design. It's got unibody as well, which makes it, well, the most beautiful looking phone in the market right now, but that's just my opinion though. I've always liked how HTC build their phones, so seeing how they've made the HTC One is a thumbs up for me. The phone has this curved design on the back and it feels really great when you pick it up, and well, not to mention the cold back as well when you pick it up in the morning. I just really love the feel of it. Now if you look at it closely, you can see its chamfered edges which complement the metal body of the phone. Now I did a comparison between this and the Galaxy S4 and how I wasn't quite a big fan of the placing of the home button on the HTC One comparing to the S4, as I find it to be quite hard to reach, but that's really not a big issue at all. Now it's only because I've gotten so used with the home button on some of the Samsung phones, and one thing I've noticed as well is I wasn't quite sure whether if it's normal or not, but the top part of the display is not as flashed comparing to the bottom part of the display. So there was probably a few problems during the production of this phone. Now to give you a closer look at the placements of the phone, at the front are the light and proximity sensors, one of the BoomSound speakers at the front, and front-facing camera. Down the bottom you have two capacitive touch buttons with the HTC branding in the middle, which does look a bit weird in the dark. Now below that you will also find another speaker, which we're going to be talking about a little later. And over the back is a microphone, the 4 ultra-pixel rear-facing camera, which should take some nice low-light photos. Next to that is an LED flash. You will also find the HTC branding in the middle and the Beats audio below that. Now at the top is the power and lock button, which also act as your TV remote, as it has an infrared sensor built into the button. And next to that is a 3.5mm audio jack. Now along the right side are the volume controls with micro SIM card slot on the left side of the phone. Last but not the least, on the bottom of the phone you'll find the micro USB port as well as the microphone. Now before I mention to you anything about the speakers of the phone, let's first talk about the full 1080p display on this beauty. So as I've said, you get a resolution of 1920 by 1080 from this device, which will give you a pixel density of 468 ppi, so that's pretty crazy, huh? Photos and videos are going to look very sharp and detailed on this, and as far as you're concerned about the text, it's going to look very crisp with no signs of any pixelations at all, even if you zoom it. Now the best comment that I got was actually from my cousin. Now she was watching The Hobbit on my phone and all she said was, I feel like I was watching it from my TV at home. So that's really cool. So if you think about that way, then that should give you an idea about the quality of the display. Now it uses Super LCD 3 and it's actually very visible outside the sunny weather. Now this is a big deal to me as I don't really like it when displays are not very visible outdoors like the previous AMOLED displays. Now that I've talked a lot about the quality of the display, we can finally talk about the front speakers. Now HTC did a great job with the placing of the speakers as most phones have it on the back, and I think that that's a very smart move from HTC. While we're used on seeing the Beats audio on their devices like the HTC One X and 8X for example, this time what they've done is to feature a combination of software and hardware with the BoomSound. So basically the speakers are amplified so you'll get more clarity and punchy sound with the speakers. Actually, you know what? Instead of me talking about it, here's a quick demo of the speakers on the HTC One and the Galaxy S4. Alright, so I guess the speakers speak for themselves. Now the stereo speakers are very loud, and having that stunning full HD display and BoomSound in my hand is just a great and enjoyable experience. The front-facing camera on the HTC One has got a 2 megapixel sensor with wide angle lens that shoots 1080p videos at 30 frames per second. Now, I enjoyed filming with the front-facing camera because it captures more objects. So if you're the person who loves to vlog a lot, then this is something that you're gonna enjoy using. Now, the one thing I've noticed is that it can sometimes be oversaturated, which makes the shots a little pinkish, but being said that it produces some nice, clear, and really sharp shots. Now, when the HTC One came out, one of the most talked about feature was the ultra pixel camera, I guess. So what exactly is it? Well, basically, the phone uses a much bigger sensor comparing to your, well, typical 8 megapixel camera phones. So as a result, you get a better low light shots. Now, the camera is actually pretty good. The end result shows some nice details on the photos, although with the video recording, there are some parts where it gets a little washed out on the edges. What's very impressive though is the low light performance. Now I'm going to be playing a few shots and clips that I took to give you a better idea of the quality, so please enjoy it. The only issue about this camera is the zoom. Now, as you probably see in the video gets really grainy due to its low pixels. But overall, the camera performs very well. Since we're talking about the camera, we might as well talk about the new camera software. Now, HTC added a bunch of editing options for you to enjoy the experience. Now, this includes HDR or high dynamic range, which does work very well, as you can see in the picture. The saturation and contrast are very good. Now, the camera also features Zoe, and what it does is that it captures a less than a second of video and shoots 20 photos, so you won't miss out on any important shots. Now, you can also create a sequence of shots by using the Zoe feature, which is pretty cool. So if you want to use this cool feature, simply go to Edit, Retouch, Sequence Shots, and then you can choose which frames you want to use for the image. The HTC One is featuring the latest Snapdragon 600 processor, which is one of the most powerful processors out there, and I guess the result from the quadrant test explains it. Now, I remember last year just being able to see a score of more than 5,000 makes me happy already. So yeah, the HTC One is a powerful phone, but comparing it to the quad-core Galaxy S4, which has a slightly higher clock rate, the S4 is a little more powerful than the One. Now, being said that though, I didn't really have any problems with running different types of games thanks to the Adreno 320 GPU. It was a very smooth experience, but if you're comparing the frame rates on the Galaxy S4 and the HTC One, the S4 is just slightly smoother. Now, the battery life on the HTC One is just about the same as the Galaxy S4, even though it's got a smaller capacity. Based on my everyday use, I get around 12 hours, and this based on a single charge, which is not so bad at all. Now, this is because of the lower clock speed as opposed to the higher clock speed on the S4. The power saver feature works very well as well if you really want to achieve a longer battery life. Now, I actually did get a good 21 hours with the battery saver on, so that's pretty impressive. The HTC One is running the latest Sense 5, but what is sad to see is that it is yet to receive the latest Android 4.2 Jelly. Being said that though, I had a great experience with the new Sense. I find it a lot cleaner, it's fast and very responsive, and it's also very easy to get used to with the new user interface. If you're used to swipe from left to right on the app page, then you're gonna need some time to get used to the new layout of the app page, as you have to scroll up and down with no choice of changing it. I don't know about you, but I find the TV app to be very handy. What it is really is that you can use it as your TV guide and as a remote control. Like myself, I hate having different remotes to control the TV and the top box. Having this on my phone is not only it displays the current and upcoming shows, but I can also control the TV. Blink Feed has also been added to the Sense 5, While it's not really something new as it's kind of similar to Flipboard, it's a very neat feature as I can easily find all the latest news from different websites like The Verge for example. However, the problem is that you cannot turn off this feature, so some of you might not like this. However, if you really want to get rid of this, same with the layout of the application page, then you can always download launchers on the Play Store like the Nova and Apex launchers. The One really is a huge step up from HTC, and I really appreciate what they've done with the engineering of this device. It's a great device but not perfect as there are still some improvements that needs to be done like on the UI and perhaps higher camera pixels. I believe the Android 4.2 update is just around the corner, so hopefully we'll see that very soon. So yeah, that's my full review of the HTC One, and if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, please do subscribe so you won't miss out any of them. I'm Jens Garcia and I'll see you all in the next one.